Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. I'm Taylor Gonzalez, and you guys, today I have a very special guest. Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare arrives in theaters for 3 days, starting January 13th until January 15th, from iconic events releasing. And I have the director of the film, my friend Scott Chambers. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, so good. It is so nice to see you. I just can't believe how much time has passed since we've seen each
hmm
other.
I know well, it's weird because it's not been that long, but what's been done in that time is mental. Because obviously I've done Peter Pan, that's completely done now, and literally 2 days ago was doing Pinocchio, hence my voice because I got ill at the end. So yeah,
Oh.
but it's been mental, isn't it? But yeah, I'll see you soon, hopefully. Peter Pan.
Yeah, I really hope so. And
Mm.
thank you, by the way, for sending me the movie because I really enjoyed it. We were talking about
Oh,
it right now a little bit off camera, but I just thought the tone of it was perfect. And I loved all of the performances, which we'll get into. But you had Martin as Peter Pan, you had Kit as Tinkerbell, Peter as Michael. It's just like the cast was so good. And I
yeah.
just thought they all really worked really well together and brought such like interesting and unique takes to all these characters. And it's like Tinkerbell and Peter Pan like you've never seen them before.
That's exactly what I wanted. Like when I was, so there was a whole script before this that has been written, and it was actually with Matt Leslie, the writer of Winnie the Pooh too. But I got cold feet about making it because it is the whole film sets place in Neverland, and it's a lot more supernatural and all that. And I got scared about doing it, and then but on the budget basically. And then I was like, what can I do that's grounded that I can achieve well and all that? And then that's how this film came about. And I was like, I love films like Hounds of Love. If you've seen that, it's like an Australian film based on a true crime, and then also stuff like Switchblade Romance. And I was like, these are films that excite me. And I was like, what can I do that would excite me that I can achieve well that makes sense with this story? And yeah, hopefully, well, thanks for your nice comments, but hopefully other people as well think
Yeah.
it came together well.
I know I feel like I'm a little bit biased because, I'm so close with you guys, but I'm
Yeah,
being serious. I just thought the tone of it, the atmosphere of it, and the performances, like that's the thing that stuck with
yeah,
me the most was you guys cast these roles so well and these takes were
yeah.
just so unique. This film opened similarly to Blood and Honey and Blood and Honey 2, where there's a storybook being read. Who did you get to do the illustrations for this?
So yeah, we got someone brand new on this one. But with that, I actually wanted to say, with the opening of the movie, obviously with like Winnie and stuff, like it's our little like signature that you open with these storybooks, right? But with my one, I wanted to actually open it. So I don't know if you noticed, but it opens really nice and it makes Neverland sound incredible. And Neverland is like made out to be this place that you'd want to go to.
Mhm.
And then you pull back from the book and you realize the person that is reading it is a complete creep clutching a little kid. So like, I wanted to kind of spin it in my one, and again in the direction that I've been doing it. But yeah, I wanted to make the opening book different to
Mhm.
Winnie, just because that one's like a sketchy vibe, and there's no color to it, there's no life to it. But again, that complements what that those stories were telling. Like the whole idea is that like everything about it is gritty and all that kind of stuff. Whereas mine, I wanted to go in a different direction, have loads of color and all this. So it looks fantastical and amazing. And then you come out of the book and you're like, oh god, it's anything but. So yeah, a little bit different.
Yeah, I really liked the whole opening. I thought that was a great sequence. And then something that I loved about this film, and I think because I interviewed Martin about his role, but a long time ago.
Mm.
I feel like it's been a while now since because it was I think it was like right
It
when
was
you guys
before
started
filming.
filming. Even
No, it was
yeah, oh
before,
yeah, it
yeah.
was before. And we talked about a carnival scene, and so getting to see it play out in the film, was that a real carnival that you guys just like came across, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so we again because I had a different script, and that script still I want to make, and I feel like it could either work as the sequel to this, or it could work as a Sleeping Beauty film. But anyway, that script was entirely set at a carnival. I can't say why because I do intend on making that film, but it's entirely set at a carnival, and like basically I connected with this carnival. We really got on. I really like the owners of it and stuff, and they were actually like, you can do it basically for like nothing, like for cheap. They just wanted us to do it. And then when obviously this film came about, I still wanted that carnival aspect in it. And obviously, that's in the first 10 minutes of the film, the carnival. And that was like how Peter Pan, he basically finds his child. So when he's doing his show at the exact same time, he's profiling his next victim in the audience. Um, and I thought it was a nice way for him to kind of lure the kids because they trust him. They saw him at this carnival. It was all amazing. And then obviously they'll be like, oh, you're the guy. And they're excited by him. So I thought that was a good little lure. But yeah, that's how I came across it. It was just like I contacted a bunch and I just really got on really well with these specific people. And I intend on going back to them for that that next film. Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a cool scene, and I paused it because there
Hmm.
was like so many different like characters and creatures and costumes going on. And I
Uh-huh.
noticed a couple people. I don't want to spoil any cameos that aren't out there, but I did notice a couple people. I noticed Reese as
Yeah.
Pooh. He had like a Pooh
And
like
he's
face paint
riding
on.
Bambi, and
It-
Bambi, the guy playing Bambi, is the
Dan Allen,
director
right?
of Bambi. Yeah, so that was
Yeah, I
fun.
was like, oh, that's such a fun little Easter egg in there. And there was like a
Hmm.
cotton candy creature. It was such a
Yeah.
cool like atmosphere and environment. What was it
Well,
like
all
getting to film?
all those creatures that you, well, not creature, they. So in the actual film that I wanted to tell,
Hmm.
those were creatures in Neverland. And I
Oh,
still
okay.
got attached to them, and I'd already had conversations with Charity Case, who is, if you can check out his Instagram, it's wild, so talented. And he makes all these like creatures and designs, and I got inspired by his Instagram. So I'd reached out again with the original script, and I wanted to still bring them into this like fairground just to make it more fantastical and not like your typical stuff like the clown and da da da. I was like,
Right.
what if I can have a candy floss man and all this kind of stuff? So yeah, that's how that all came about, and I just wanted to still do it, but not as creatures this time. And yeah, it was good. It was I don't think there was anything bad that went on that day. It was like really well. Actually, I'll tell you one story.
Mhm.
So, when you've got all them children, you have to get children licenses, like child licenses, and the government or whatnot, they came to set to do a viewing day,
Mhm.
and obviously Reese had to go and talk to them, and he's dressed as Winnie the Pooh with his hair in little like things. And he's painted yellow and he's having this serious conversation, like to just kind of reassure them that we're doing everything like by the books.
Yes.
And I just looked over and I was like, oh my God. Like, the producer's talking to him dressed as Winnie the Pooh with face paint and stuff. Must have looked like an absolute joke. But yeah, that was a bit intense. But everyone else was really good. I was really proud of everyone, like how all the designs came out. And yeah, it was such a good day. I feel like that's one of the best sequences. So
Oh, that's great. That's so funny.
yeah,
I can't even imagine talking while face painted as Winnie
it
the
looked like
Pooh.
a
That's
joke.
hilarious.
It looked awful, and I was just thinking they're going to shut this down because I was like, it just looks so unprofessional. Like they literally the director, producer, sorry, is dressed like that, but it
Oh
was
my
okay because we
gosh.
did everything properly, so it was okay.
Oh wow. Well, because of some of the cameos that I alluded to earlier, I am assuming that this movie takes place
Hmm.
before the events of Blood and Honey 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there's a hairdresser scene
Mhm.
in the film, and you'll see Kelly, who plays Mia, who's the opening death scene of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, and she actually invites
Right.
Tiger Lily and Wendy to come with her on a glamping event that night. And
Mhm.
she says, "Oh, I've forgotten her name, Jamie." She was like, "Oh, Jamie's coming, da da da," which is obviously Leela, who's also in the opening, and she invites both those girls, and they're not feeling it. Thank God they don't go because yeah, that very night they all
Yes.
get killed. And then you'll also see the therapist from Winnie the Pooh 2 is actually Wendy's mum. And she's wearing the
Oh
exact,
yeah.
yeah, and she's wearing the exact same outfit from the therapy session that Christopher Robin has with her. And again, it's because it's set. The film
Mhm.
starts pretty much the exact same day of Winnie the Pooh, so they're happening at the same time. So yeah,
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned it because I didn't want to, say anyone that, isn't publicly out there that they're in the movie. I
uh-huh,
I noticed Kelly instantly because I love her so much.
yeah,
I thought Wendy's mom looked so familiar. And so I'm
hmm,
glad you said the therapist in Blood and Honey too. Now it's all coming together. It all makes sense. It's very
yeah.
cool though to have, you're having this Poohniverse being built and to have all these characters pop up in the movies just makes it, make it feel like it's all one universe and one Poohniverse.
Yeah, yeah, everything's being planned out. Like, and when people say things on the internet, like it's not, it really is. Like, even in Pinocchio, like I make a small cameo as a doctor again, as Christopher Robin, and also um Peter DeSouza-Feighoney, who is playing Michael Darling in Peter Pan, he is in Pinocchio as the same character, but set after Peter Pan. So it's like a couple of months after, and now he's a goth because the events of this film have kind of like make him have a bit of an edge to
Mhm.
him. And it's set at the same school and stuff. So it's literally they're all in the same uniform. It's at the same school in Pinocchio as Peter Pan. So it's really, really fun. And that's another reason why Peter Pan, the film, I went in such a dark like
Mhm.
route with it, because when you get to Poohniverse, you need to already feel a certain way about these characters. Because when you get to Poohniverse, there's so many
Mhm.
characters in it, and we're not going to have time to kind of tell a fresh audience, this is the ultimate baddie, and this is
Right.
someone that you can a baddie, but you can kind of like them and all that. So with Peter Pan, like it was important that I really get you to not like Peter Pan because when you get to Poohniverse, you need to not like him already
Yeah.
because where that's going to go, it's like he's one of the it's like the baddies, and then there's the big baddies, and he's a part of that. So yeah, it all
Oh.
makes sense when you get there.
All right, very nice, very nice.
Yeah,
So we have to talk about this incredible cast, and I'll start with Martin Portlock. I thought he brought such a unique take to Peter Pan. I loved like even how he changes his voice throughout
yeah.
the film and like his mannerisms as well. What were some of the inspirations that went into this version of Peter Pan?
So yeah, like when I was auditioning for Peter Pan, I was really struggling. No one was getting it. And I actually sent out sides for it for people to audition with, just to see that version of it. I think at the time the script hadn't finished, and I was actually because it was all moving so quick, and I
Mhm.
changed the script from what it was to the new one. I didn't really have like sides ready just yet. So um, I wanted him to have a mask on. So obviously, when you first meet him, he's got all the face paint,
Mhm.
and he's got the face paint because it's his lure. It's like, oh, look at me, I'm a
Mhm.
mime. Aren't I fun? Da da da. You saw me at the circus, but obviously, the events that happen in the first 15 minutes, they make him look a totally different way
Right.
in the rest of the movie, and how he looks. Again, he can't go around and people trust him. So then he has
Mhm.
to find a mask. And the mask he finds, it is all very happy and it's meant to represent like a child's face and look all smiley and all that. And then I said to him, when you're wearing that mask, I want you to have a child's voice. So that it's kind of like you're trying to reason with these kids. So when you're talking to the kids, it's like they're kind of falling for it because it's like, oh, he sounds like a kid and he sounds really nice. And the whole point is, and then when the mask comes off and you see his real face, and
Yes.
then you go into a deeper tone, and it's like, no, this is a full grown adult. This is not a kid. This is not someone that's friendly. So yeah, it was really important to like work on his lure for the kids because it needs to feel like a split personality. Like 1 minute he's like, "Oh hi, da 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 da," and then
Mhm.
the next minute it's like, "Oh my god," it's this rough, gravelly voice, and it's very like he's got a British voice. So he goes actually because he even puts on like American tones as well. Um, but yeah, it was important to have those two sides because you have to lure people in and stuff. And even at the end, he tries it with Wendy. Like there's a proper head to head with Wendy, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden he's gone. He puts a mask on. He goes, "I'm just a little boy," and then she doesn't go for it. He's like, "I'm just a little boy," like that. So it's just quite fun. But yeah, it took a bit of getting there because we didn't get rehearsals. So it was actually we were discovering this on camera. Like I'd said, kind of like where I wanted to go. I'd said sent references to him of other performances, and at times we were kind of leaning too much into kind of like Pennywise, and I wanted to pull away from that because I didn't really want it to feel like And as a
Mhm.
director, I want to make sure I'm steering him in the right direction, so it was like a brand new thing. Some of it was a bit Pennywise, and I think we got there in the end. And yeah, I'm really really proud of him. I think he did really well, and he just trusted me because on the day
Mhm.
it was like I want this. And I think he was a bit like, oh God, really? And I was like, yeah, yeah, I want that. But he trusted me and he went with it. And I think we've got really good results. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to him again and just tell him how great I thought his performance was. And then another
Yeah.
really great performance was from Kit Green, who plays Tinkerbell. I remember you and
Uh-huh.
I were at City Walk at Universal Studios, and you very first told me about Kit was going to play Tinkerbell, and I was so excited. And when you were
Yeah.
telling me about the pixie dust, and you were telling me about
Yeah.
this unique take on Tinkerbell, but to actually see it now, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so different. And I thought she did such a great job with this characterization. Can you talk a little bit about working with Kit to bring Tinkerbell to life?
Yeah. So Kit was literally, there was no one like Kit in the auditions. I auditioned a bunch of people and Kit just as soon as I saw Kit, I wanted her. I really, really wanted her, and I was like, I'm set on her basically. And as soon as we um agreed that we were both going to work together and it was going to go ahead, I started voice noting her, and I was like, this is going to be a really difficult role. Like the layers to it, and as the film goes on, you start kind of peeling all these like layers away from her, and you start realizing who she really is at the bottom of this, and where she's come from, and all this kind of stuff, and the manipulation that Peter Pan has over her, like the pixie dust. He's made this fantastical world that she believes is Neverland, and she's gonna go there. And this pixie dust is going to help her get there and all that, but obviously it's all a manipulation tactic. It's like he's got her hooked on heroin, and she now needs him because she's got this addiction that she doesn't understand, and there's just so much going on. And it had to be like this realization as the story carried on, like of her to start realizing and seeing through him, seeing the cracks and understanding, actually, I don't think you are who you've told me. And also that side of like feeling lied to,
Mhm.
and that realization had to we I really wanted to break that character down.
Right.
And obviously when Michael comes into the picture, the little boy Michael, and he's abducted, he starts saying stuff to her that makes her really question everything.
Mm.
And like, she's believed all these years that her parents didn't want her and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of like things that we had to kind of get together, and we had to a lot that's not in the film, it's not on the page, that we had to know together. When did she get herself in this situation? Again, I don't want
Mm.
to say too much, but when did she get herself in this situation, and how we've got to where we are? Because she has, that whole Stockholm syndrome as well, and it's just complex as hell. Like there was a lot that went into this. It isn't an easy character, and she had to trust me with a lot of it, because a lot of situations I was like, go a bit big for this. I think like we want to see like this heightened version, and she's never grown up either. Like she has found herself in this situation as a kid, and the only person she's been around is Peter Pan. And at what point did he start trusting her to let her out of the house and all this? It was just very complex, and she just smashed it. Like I was so happy with like I love directing actors all about the eyes. You don't
Mm.
have to show me with your body, just think it and we'll see it. And I feel like you see a lot, and that's why if you notice in this film I do a lot of close-ups, because I want to see the eyes. And obviously I come from an acting background, and I get excited by it, performances and seeing stuff in the eyes and those layers. And this film isn't all action packed. Like this one is a lot more like character driven.
Mm.
And yeah, I'd say like she just kills it. I'm so excited for people to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait to have people see her portrayal of Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
And then another, maybe one of my favorite performances in the whole movie is Peter as Michael. I think Peter is a superstar. I think everything I see
Oh,
him in, he is so good. And
uh-huh.
it's so nice for people who don't know he was young Pooh in Blood and Honey too. So to get to see him this time, see his face not behind a mask, and he's one of the lead roles in this movie. He just is so good. Can you talk a little bit about working with him to bring Michael to life?
Yeah, so the role was basically written for him. So when I was writing the script, I had already met him on Pooh 2,
Nice.
and I was like, I want him to do it basically. I already knew that. We'd already talked about it on Pooh 2. And because even in the previous script, again, um, I wanted him to play Michael in that, and the character was similar. But when I was writing this, it was obviously I had him in mind the whole time, and I wanted to bring out certain characteristics that he naturally has,
Mm.
and like blow them out a bit more into this character. And yeah, I had this trust with him. I was like, some kids you just don't know. Like I have worked with kids that are a little bit difficult. And they can, they're excited one minute and the next minute they're like, I don't want to do it anymore. And it's like, oh
Mm.
God. Like, whereas he is totally different. He loves this. Like, he really loves acting. Um, and working with him was so good. And um, getting him to trust me again was a big thing, because I wanted him to really go there at points,
Right.
and I had to really get the crew to work in a different way that they're used to. The crew, usually it's all about them and the actors. Like, on Who 2, I felt a lot of that. Like when I Find My Parents Dead, that was a mess how that was filmed,
Right.
because like we were so behind schedule, and it was like, like I'm crying, and then it was like pause there, and like get the camera in. It was like, oh my god, and it was just a mess. And I knew I didn't want any of these to go through that,
Mhm.
because it's difficult. It's really difficult, and you have no idea if you're any good at acting because you're just like that felt like a fucking mess. So I was like, I didn't want any of these guys to feel like that. So I was like, just trust me. And I was like, everyone else quiet. And I was like encouraging, like putting headphones in, listening to music, the concentration in between the takes, because again, the crew, they're talking loads. And no matter how many times you say be quiet, talking whispers, they don't do it. So I was like, it's just me and you now. Like, put your headphones in between takes. We'll
Mhm.
find a quiet place. Like, this is intense, and we're talking about like what to substitute because obviously he's young, like he's like a child,
Mhm.
and it was like he has nothing to really relate to. So it was like trying to find things in his personal life that upset him, and
Mhm.
thinking about those moments and heightening them and all that. And like imagination really is a key thing, like with acting, and especially with a kid. It's like really you got to imagine that you're in this situation where your mom and your dad aren't there, and you've got this person, and you're quite intelligent, so you're able to see through them. And when they say this one line, that does something to you where you're like, you spot it and you don't believe it, and stuff like that. And also, he's very protective of his other little friend that ends up in the similar
Yeah.
situation as the film goes on. But Michael Darling is intelligent. Like he does see through things that other kids before and even his friend they don't see,
Mhm.
and they kind of just they're so scared of Peter Pan that they just go along with it, and they're like, yeah, yeah, okay, if you're telling me this, as long as I can go home after, and it's like, yeah, 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 and they believe it, but. With Michael, it was important that he needed to like see through it and have these like more mature sides to him.
Very nice. We also have to
Mm,
talk about Megan, who plays Wendy.
hmm.
She's phenomenal in this movie. The whole time
Yep.
she was on screen, I was like, wow, she is great. I'm not
Uh-huh.
familiar with her work. How did you find Megan to play Wendy?
Yeah, she's fresh out of drama school, so I think this might be like she might have done some short films, but I think she's never really worked. So she had done drama school. She auditioned, and she was actually a bit of a hard one to nail down because she's never really free. Like she seems to always be doing something. And when I had auditioned her for the and cast her in the original one, and then
Mhm.
something happened, and then she couldn't do it because of dates. Um, And then when this came about, I went back to her agent. I was like, I want her. It was a little bit difficult to get her back, but we made it work, and we got some availability that worked and all that. And I just really, really, really like her, like as a friend as well. Like we really get on. And again, trust was a big thing. And I said
Mhm.
to her, like, there's going to be times like before you commit to this. I voice noted her and was like, I said, did the same with Martin as well. I was like, before you commit to this, you will be covered in blood. There will be days where you hate it.
Yeah.
You'll be crying to the point where like you're exhausted, but you have
Mhm.
to carry on going, and you're going to be really tested in this. And I just need you to be on board and just know those days will be challenging, but it will be rewarding as well. And she just kind of was up for it and never moaned. I think there were days that were really challenging, especially with the fighting towards the end and
Mhm.
stuff. But she just committed to the whole thing, and I was so proud of her. And it was like me and her, like we got to a point where if I said to her, like, trust me, it was good. Like she might feel like it was big or something like that, but it was like I knew how I was going to edit the film, and I'd
Mhm.
seen the film when I was writing the script, and I was like, I knew what I wanted from it, these puzzle pieces.
Mhm.
And I think we got this like shorthand where I was like, it was good, or I'll be like, just think about this, and think about the smells in the room. Like when you're entering this room, think about how it's like when she finds Hook.
Mhm.
You see a bucket full of shit. And I was like, think about the smells. Like you want to vomit, but then you
Right.
see there's so much going on, and then you've got upstairs going on. There's all these things going on, and just working together in that way. And I think we really, really worked together well. And I loved working with her. But yeah, she just took every note and listened, and just so easy to work with. I loved her.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm so glad
Mm,
that the dates worked out, the availability worked out because
me too.
totally paid off, totally worth it. She's so good
Agree.
in this film, and I really think people are going to enjoy her performance and become
Same.
fans of her. And I can't wait to see what she does next because I just thought she was so good in this.
Me too. I think she's dead. I like all the ones we just talked about. I think they've all got futures. Like there's
Yeah.
sometimes like you work with people and you're like, I don't know, but like these ones, I really think like I really think when the industry gets back to where it is, do you know what I mean?
Mm,
'Cause it's still in a messy place. But I think when it like, and hopefully this puts them all on a bit of a platform now where people can see them. And she got like obviously all of them have got such rich characters. Like there really is a beginning, middle, and end to all of these characters, and they all go on such a journey.
Mhm.
I think they're really great roles, and I think they did them really well. So hopefully, it showcases them. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's why I wanted to highlight those four performances specifically. And another thing I wanted to talk to you about is the costumes. The
oh yeah,
costume designer is Leela, who, as we
yeah.
mentioned earlier, is in Blood and Honey 2. And I thought the costumes throughout the film are really great. My favorite was in the circus tent, the striped outfit that Peter Pan's wearing. Did you have a favorite costume from the film?
I mean, Tinkerbell was always my favorite. There's one costume you don't really see her in because it's in the deleted scenes. There's actually a whole 5 minute scene where you meet Tinkerbell before you actually meet her in the
Oh.
version you've seen. There's a whole other scene, and we cut it just because it didn't really add much, but it's such a bloody great scene. But it's in the deleted scenes, and her outfit, I love it. It was like this like long because we went with the idea that she loves purple and all that, and that's why earlier on when she was a kid, she had the purple fingernails and she painted them purple and stuff, and purple was her thing. But we went with like this long coat and had like the furry cuffs, and it is in the film, but you like kind of don't really see it. Furry stuff, and we just always went with like the dressing gown, which you do see a lot in the film, and again, lots of fur and silk, and I love creating her costumes. I thought that was so fun, and like, what would you wear if like as a kid, like I used to like live in my pajamas, and that's what
Mhm.
we went with her. It's like let's just keep her in her nightwear all the time. She just doesn't bother. So I thought she was the funnest to play with. The they're not creatures anymore, people.
Yeah.
Um, they were really fun, but no, I think Tinkerbell was like so fun. I loved seeing her stuff. I was like, when I saw her on set, I got so giddy, and I was like, "Yay, she's here! Tinkerbell's
Aw.
here!" I just loved it, and how it all flew. I want to say that like flowed, like her outfit, like she is this otherworldly being, and like yeah, I just loved it. So probably Tinkerbell.
Aw, very cool. So
Yeah.
as we mentioned earlier, this is all, building towards Poohniverse, and
Uh-huh.
there's going to be a lot of crossovers and stuff like that. Who can you confirm from this film that will be returning for Poohniverse?
So at the minute, we've got from this film Tinkerbell, Peter Pan. Tinkerbell will make sense when you get there because obviously this film ends in a way, but don't worry. Tinkerbell, Peter Pan, Wendy, but again we're struggling with dates. So she may be more brief appearance. Wendy, Michael Darling, um, Hook, and then the mum is. It isn't that she doesn't want to do it; she definitely wants to do it. I'm just trying to make sure it works in the story,
Mhm.
so I don't want to force people in just for the sake of it.
Right.
And then after Poohniverse, it's gonna be fun because just don't trust that anyone's gonna survive that. Just
Mhm.
don't. Honestly, I love that Avengers film, the middle one. I forgot what it's
Mhm.
called, Infinity Wars, whatever. The one where they all actually died at the end. It
Yeah.
made it shocking, and it was like, oh my god, because normally I think those films are just like same thing over and over and over, and it's like the same structure.
Mhm.
Literally, it feels literally like the same structure over and over. And I thought that was so like I remember watching that cinema and going, "Whoa! Now I actually like these films." So I was like, "I love that you just killed Spider-Man." Da, da, da. Didn't like the next one when they all just came back to life. So you, if someone dies in Poohniverse, they're gone. They're really gone.
All
So,
right.
and I do not want these people. The whole thing is you're building these standalone films.
Mhm.
You're falling in love with these characters, and Poohniverse will go. Now you love them by, and it will hurt. I think it will really hurt. Like I really like stuff like where like Dewey in Scream 5 he died. I want that, and I want Puniverse to hurt, and I want it to mean something. It's going to be really fun, but I want it to mean something. I want you to really love it and
Mhm.
go, God, that was ballsy that you just got rid of them. So don't trust that anyone's going to get out of this alive, and then you're going to have a lot of fun in the future because now they've met, and now
Mhm.
more rifts are forming. What is it if Peter Pan and Peter Pan 2, it was actually Christopher Robin in that he now has a vendetta, or
Mhm.
you know I don't know, I'm just making stuff up, but like Wendy is now in the Pooh films, or
Right.
Tigger's after Wendy for some reason. I'm creating a lot of like issues amongst the gang, so I think it's gonna be a fun little future.
All right. Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next. And speaking of what happens next, so we
Yeah.
know Bambi is shot and we know you just finished filming Pinocchio. What can
Uh-huh.
fans look forward to as the next release?
So the next release obviously is this film. So this one's next in January. Then Bambi is coming out in March. And then Pinocchio, a bit to be confirmed because literally Reese, if you look over here, is editing the film right now. So
Oh
he's
my gosh,
editing it.
Tyrese.
Yeah, he can't hear,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
everyone said
I'll say
tell
hello
him I
to
said
him.
hi.
I will. And then we're going to be filming Poohniverse. So I think Pinocchio will come out next year. Um, and then I think that's going to be it because I think Poohniverse is going to take up a lot of time, and then we're going to
Mm,
start announcing the second wave of films. Some of them have already leaked. Obviously, there's mentions of Snow White. Winnie the Pooh 3 is confirmed.
mm,
And then yeah, we'll just see how people respond. If people respond to Peter Pan, that's why it's important to go and watch it at cinema. Because if you don't watch it, there won't be a sequel. There just won't be one. Because not, I'm aware not all these will go down as well as Pooh in terms of box office and stuff. I actually do think Peter Pan doesn't have the hook that Pooh had, so I think it's so much more in need of people to go and watch it because I just think Pooh has got more of a what the fuck factor to it, and it has loads of people go and watch it. Whereas Peter Pan, maybe not as much, but I feel like the film is really good, and hopefully people will give it a chance.
mm,
And if not, they'll go and watch. My big thing is they'll go and watch Poohniverse. I think a lot of people will watch that. That will be my Winnie 2.0.
mm.
They'll go and watch that. Hopefully, forgive us if they didn't like Winnie 1, because I know there's still a lot of hate for that. They'll love Poohniverse, and then they'll go back and give us a
Mm.
chance on like Peter Pan and all these films they maybe didn't give us a chance with. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's coming, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very excited for you guys as well. And this is the perfect time to remind everybody that Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare arrives in theaters for 3 days. It'll be starting on January 13th through the 15th from Iconic Events Releasing. And Scott, thank you so much for joining
Um,
me and talking all things Poohniverse and Peter Pan with me. Just congratulations on everything. And I'm so proud of you guys. And
oh,
I'm so thankful to be, along this journey with you guys, doing all this press with you and getting to meet all these incredible actors and talent that you bring along the way is just so fun for me. So thank you so much.
um, well, thank you. Like, honestly, like, none of this is without you guys. And like, when I met you, obviously, in God, March, you went in that.
I
It
know.
actually isn't that long ago. Like, I just really, really like you. That's why I was like, do you want to have a chat? So, yeah, thanks for doing
Yeah,
it.
thank you. This was so much fun and a perfect way to wake up in the morning is to get to see
Oh,
you. And I got to talk to Lewis not too long ago. I saw Andrew in person a few months ago. So it's nice to keep in touch with you guys because you guys are like family to me. So it's nice.
oh, same. Thank you. Yeah, I love talking to you.
I'll keep in touch and I look forward to everything that you guys are working on.
Totally. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.